Okay, thanks everybody for joining us today. My name is AJ Kroll, and I work here at the State Department of Career Tech, and I get to train on OKCareerGuide, which is a fabulous, powerful tool all about career awareness and career exploration, so that our students can build a plan and figure out what that next step is moving forward in their life. Specifically with ICAP, helping meet all those requirements, but also just available for any Oklahoman to use to really kind of direct their future and make sure that they're going with purpose. So I want to start off and just kind of fill you on what we'll cover today. We'll talk about the the support staff that's available for you and some resources that might help you with implementing OKCareerGuide. And then specifically today, we're going to talk about the job readiness features within, or the job related content within OKCareerGuide. So there's quite a bit of content, text, videos, questions that exist inside the system that help students think through from the very beginning, how to start looking for a job, to preparing the documents to get a job like a resume or a job application, as well as tips for the interview process, what that process looks like from start to finish, including follow-up, and then we'll actually go ahead from there and start taking a look at the resume building feature and cover letter building feature. And then that'll culminate in the eProfile, which is a really powerful online resource to help students, kind of put their best foot forward. And then if we have time, I do want to show you just a little bit of what's available on the admin side in terms of reporting and getting a chance to look at what's inside the system, what an admin can see. So we'll go from there. And just to kind of introduce you to our team, we have 3 members on the OKCareerGuide team, myself there on the left, Latoya Miller in the middle, and Nathan Brubaker. And that is our contact information. So feel free to reach out to any of us if you need assistance. If you get inside the system and you're not quite sure how to do something, or you're needing to train or support one of your teachers and they've got questions, you're not quite sure how to answer them, feel free to give us a ring, or if you want some follow-up training, we'd be glad to provide any of that. So there's our contact information. And then I also always want to point out this amazing resource that's available to everybody, and that is the Cooter Client Engagement Team. Cooter is the company that built OKCareerGuide, and they have a team on hand Monday through Friday from 7 a.m. to 6 p.m. to answer any of your questions about OKCareerGuide. I mean, they literally built the system, so they know it inside and out. There's been a handful of trainings that I've had where someone's had a really good question that I wasn't able to answer. So right there in the middle of the training, just pulled them up on speakerphone and we had them kind of walk us through the process. They are fabulously helpful, and certainly your go-to resource if you've got students in front of you, or like in my case, a training where we needed answers right then and there. That is your best resource right there, 877-999-6227. They are super helpful. And then they also have an email, clientengagement@cooter.com, that you can reach out to for any more long-term projects that you're working on, especially if you're working on things like mass uploads, trying to do a mass registration with your students, maybe cleaning up the MyEd plans, or you're trying to understand the data that's available. Those are all things that they'd be glad to help you out with, as would we, but them being readily available, I totally encourage you to use that. In terms of resources that are available, just as a reminder that we do have quite a bit of things, documents, curriculum, assignments that are available on our CTU website. So I'm going to drop that link into the chat. You shouldn't need a login. You can just go in as the guest. If for some reason it spits you out to the main page, you just look for the area that says Career and Academic Connections. But on the CTU website, we have the standalone curriculum that has 11 modules in it. It walks people through the whole career awareness process. What I love about it is that it's scripted, and it is tied to objectives from American School Counseling Association, from the National Career Development Association, and it really is word for word how to walk through a lesson. So it gives you the primer, why are we doing this? So you sound like the expert. In addition to the handouts, when to ask questions. It's got a preloaded PowerPoint that you can customize. And so I totally encourage you to check out the Direct Your Future if you're looking for ways to work career awareness and figure out how to get CareerGuide into the classroom in a way that makes sense. Totally a valuable asset for you. Nate, who's on the call I mentioned just a minute ago, he went through and created some amazing worksheets and lessons that kind of walk step by step through the system, specifically looking at ICAP as kind of the lens through how do we accomplish this. But it's got step-by-step instructions for students on what they need to complete and what they should take out of the system, right? So not just go to the survey and answer these questions, but also write down these results and think about them. In addition, there's checklists available so you can kind of monitor their progress. And those are all customizable, by the way. You can brand them, change them up to however they fit your needs and how you're implementing the system, as well as an ICAP and work-based learning kind of toolkit. It's a like timeline and definitions on when to implement things. He's also working on some very specific and detailed toolkits in terms of, if I'm the English teacher and I just got ICAP thrust onto my lap and now I have to put together a career fair, I don't know how to do that as an English teacher. So Nate has gone through and built some documents to help people walk through that step by step, knowing, when to start the process, a checklist of what you're going to need before, during, that sort of stuff. And those are currently in draft form, but if you'd like to go and start looking at that or even provide some valuable feedback, just drop your email in the chat or reach out to Nate. I showed his email just a minute ago. And then finally, also on the CTU website is the icons that we see all throughout CareerGuide. So we've included some best practices, things that we've seen around the state, as well as like for instance in Tahlequah, where they just printed off those icons and put them all around their school. Those are available for you to use however you so desire. So just letting you know that that's available. And then further, the YouTube page that we've set up has a lot of videos that are there to guide students and educators through CareerGuide on specific components. So like we're recording this now, this will go up as well here shortly this week. And it's just a resource for you to go back and look at things. Sometimes we get into that initial training and it's 2 hours long and we cover a lot of material and you're like, I know there's a way that you can do goal setting in the system, but I just really can't remember it. Well, we put up a short video on how to do that on the YouTube site. So we're not famous enough yet. We don't have enough subscribers yet to have a specific link. So if you just go to YouTube and search for OK Career Guide, you should find our channel pretty easily and can start looking at the videos there. If you subscribe, you'll definitely get notified of any updates that we put in the system. So keep that in mind. And then finally, the posters that we have available for those of you that are in school or will be in school for different parts of the year. We do have these, the boy and the girl, what's your next step poster, as well as the 1, 2, 4 or more conversation starter. If you'd like, we can mail some of those out, or we live in various parts of the state, so maybe we can get those to you. But we've got, I don't know, I think in the neighborhood of 2,500 of them sitting here in my office. So please feel free to request some of those if it would be helpful at all. Okay, so I'm going to jump into the live system here in just a moment. And we all are relatively familiar with Zoom by now, but if you're not, or if you're still kind of figuring things out, it's really helpful if you can follow me in the system. If you just want to take notes today, that's totally fine. But if you want to kind of get the hands-on experience as if we were there in person, you can minimize the screen share or kind of push it to the side and you can follow along. If you've got dual monitors, that's super helpful. If you're working on like a little Surface Pro, it's not quite so easy. But feel free to kind of push things to the side to follow along. If you have a sample account, great. If you don't and you want to follow us, you can just log in as sample student. That's all one word, all lowercase, and that's the username and the password. So sample student, sample student. If you do want to create your own fake account, which I certainly would if I was back in the classroom, because I would want to introduce the system to students kind of as a student, much the way I do the trainings. Feel free to set that up as well. I don't encourage you to do it right this minute because we're going to jump into the system. But when you do set that up, make sure that you set your school to our training environment. That way you're not messing up with any of the data that your students are putting in the system. So that training environment is just ODCTE training. It'll make sense when you're going through the process because it's going to ask you what organization you're part of, and you can just type in the word training. It'll pop up. It'll be no big deal. So here I am at the home page, and I'm going to log in as my student account. Okay. what I would do first, so just to kind of highlight, what's available inside the system, is I'm going to scroll down to the left-hand side here. And we think about this kind of broken up into two sections. We have kind of the things to do, and then the portfolio items. So the things to do are like your assessments. It's content based, right? So there's some soft skills training in there. There's the job readiness training that we're going to look at as well. And then down here, the portfolio items, those are areas where you can create the goals. You can create your resume. That's where we'll upload documents, and we'll take a look at that in the next part. So in terms of things to do, I'm going to go down here to the tab that says plan for work. And if I open that up, I get a couple options here. So I'm going to check out this sample job application, because let's be honest, a lot of our high schoolers probably have never completed a job application before. So we can come here and get some content knowledge, right? We can click this little pop-up box that kind of explains some valuable pro tips in terms of completing a job application. This one being somewhat important here, this does not apply whenever you get to an item. You wouldn't believe how many HR managers I've talked to that didn't hire high school students because they just left whole sections blank of the application, versus showing just a little bit of initiative and writing NA or does not apply or not applicable. So just little things like that don't seem super important, and yet every time I hear from a hiring manager, that's something that they're talking about. So here I am on the sample job application, and really this is just meant to get students' feet wet in terms of what should this look like, what kind of information do you put on here. It's all pre-filled with nonsense data, right? So here we are, here's my work experience. Kind of gives you an idea of what type of things will be expected on a job application, how you can phrase certain things, right? So it's pretty straightforward. This next one down here, the interview process, this is where some of that content starts to build in with text and videos. So this is designed to walk me through step by step of the interview process. I get these quick objectives of why do we have interviews, right? So really good chance that your high school student has never done a real job interview. So this kind of walks them through what the employee is looking to gain from the system, what the employer might be looking for in the system. And okay, I see there, Julie asked a question and it looks like we're up to speed. Thanks, Nate and Toya. On the preparation side of things, right? So how to get in the right mindset for an interview. This is just, again, that content that you could turn into a lesson, having the students review this content. You could have them walk away with a quick report on what they would do, or even use this as an opportunity to prepare for a mock interview. And so we've got some videos that we can watch, some pro tips. These common questions have plenty of videos, as well as external links to traditional or anticipated interview questions. A section that I always enjoy, which is the questions to avoid. You can guarantee that high schoolers will just about answer any question you ask them when they're nervous and in a job interview setting. Things like, oh, how do you feel about medical marijuana? Or are you planning to start a family soon? Things that they absolutely should not answer or not be asked, right? This kind of walks them through some of the ways to handle and process those type of questions. Again, what to wear, right? How to dress and your appearance for an interview. The stages tab kind of walks them through that process again, from that high level overview of how to get ready for it, what to do during it, how to finish it off with a closing or summarization. And again, we got lots of videos here that we can watch. And then how to follow up, right, with thank you cards and thank you notes. And we see there's even some sample thank you letters they can check out here, right? If they've never written a thank you note, maybe they should get a couple ideas of what to put in there first. So this is all under the interview process here. And the next little box, the use social networking, super applicable to our Gen Z youth. I think that's what we're at, Gen Z at this point. And this is just real simple information in terms of how to build a network through things like LinkedIn. Some smart caveats to keep in mind as they're developing their profile, to be careful what they post on there. What things to avoid whenever they're putting that together. And then finally, just some ideas in terms of how to research a company, what to get into whenever they're about to do a job interview, it's probably a pretty good idea to know a little bit about the place that you're planning to work for. The next tab with a little magnifying glass is the Find a Job section. And this is kind of a mix of some of the things we just saw, as well as a connection to opportunities here in Oklahoma. So the Find Job openings, this is really kind of helping flip the mindset of how we get students to look for jobs. So I'm going to go and collapse these real quick. And so a lot of times people kind of invert this. We see this like an inverted pyramid, where they kind of start with newspaper ads, or they start with an employment center, and then they might start doing the cold calling. Maybe they go to a job fair, maybe they answer some online stuff, or eventually they might rely on this network of people, friends, colleagues that they've acquired. And we want to kind of flip that around to know that the most jobs that they get come from this top level right here, developing a network, right? So it walks them through that process of, why is that important? How do I go about that? Let's go ahead and start with the people that you know, right? So it helps them add contacts here of professionals that they already know that they can rely on. And it helps them build up their organization if they have connections to external organizations through a student group or even work that they've already done. But it's just this idea of establishing that network to rely on for help, right? So we have external links here to how to answer to things on Indeed, Glassdoor, Career Builder, LinkedIn, that sort of thing. And then on this next tab, the Search for National Jobs tab, this actually connects to the Oklahoma Office of Workforce Development. So we have Oklahoma Works. It'll take me to the external site. And if they're interested, maybe you live on the eastern side of the state, and they're looking for jobs in different, maybe Fort Smith or in Joplin or something like that. It connects them to the workforce development programs in those states as well. So again, just lots of research, lots of opportunities to explore. And this is under the Find a Job, both in the Find a Job openings and the Research Employers area. So next, I'm not going to touch too much on Connected Business because I've already done a webinar on that, but Connected Business is designed to bring students and educators close to businesses here in Oklahoma that are interested in things like career fairs, guest speaking, even providing work-based learning opportunities. So here I'm looking at a whole host of businesses in Oklahoma. I can see a broad range of clusters that they represent, so it should apply to a lot of different students. And then I can even look at specific opportunities. So here I am looking at opportunities, most of these here in the central and western areas, parts of the state. And for 9th, 10th, and 11th graders, they're only going to see things like part-time work, internship, apprenticeship. It's 12th graders and adults who will see the full-time opportunities. And I'll be honest, a lot of folks who have set up accounts, a lot of businesses who have set up accounts on Connected Business use it for the full-time opportunities. But we're always looking for CTE advisory boards that want to sign up for this. It's free and paid for by the state. So just a quick look at some of the things that are available. Here's one right here in Stillwater. I get a quick overview of what's the position about. What are the related occupations? How does it connect to me? How do I apply? And I can go from there. So that's Connected Business in a nutshell. But there's a webinar on that on our YouTube page, I believe, if you want to check that out. So what I've done here is we've covered the top section that, again, is a lot of content based, right? So these are things that you might want to get creative and find ways to turn them into assignments or research projects, helping them get prepared for a mock interview, those type of things. And that will help them prepare for this part down here, where we're going to actually build a resume. So the My Job Search Tools, it's got the little briefcase there. This is where I can go to build a resume, a cover letter, upload my references, that sort of a thing. So I'm going to go and click into the My Resumes. And from here, I can view or edit or duplicate a resume from the past, or I can just go ahead and create a new one from scratch. So I need to name it. So I'm going to name this my webinar resume. Helpful if the keys work right. And then we're not going to look too much at this until we get a bit more meat into it. It automatically populates some of my information, right, that I've given the system. And then it allows me to adjust things that maybe I don't want to have my work email in there or not. You know, I want to not include my specific address or something. And then we come down here to these different sections. So there's 8 different sections that a student can upload, whether it's a summary, their work experience, their education. It's all going to be based on what they have available or applicable to them. So if I do the summary, I get a quick explanation of what type of thing I should be putting in there, right? So maybe it's my objective or to list some of my skills and strengths. So I put my objective is to attain employment, a local community theater. So I'm signed in as Little Rumble Bison, right? Very interested in performing arts. And you can see that once I've entered something and I've saved it, that little section gets grayed out. I can always go back and hit the pencil icon and update it as I need to, but it grays out once I've got something on there. And maybe this is too much, right? Maybe I don't know where to begin. Maybe this is giving the students a little, assuming that they know what they're doing a little bit more here. They can always click this resume help button, and it takes them to kind of again, that 50,000 foot view of what we're trying to accomplish with the resume, how to prepare for it, what type of information to put in there, how to get started, right? So if I'm going to do a summary, I get a quick idea of what type of things I should put in the summary, what my formats. We saw those buttons at the top. It said chronological and functional. I have no idea what that is. So where can I learn about that? Well, right here on the resume helps page, right? Or the resume tips page. So I can scroll through that. And again, that could be turned into some kind of an assignment, or it certainly could serve as a resource for your students. Next, let's add some work experience, right? So I'm working at Oklahoma Department of Career Tech. I'm a career development specialist, and we are located in Stillwater. And I started a couple years ago, and it's still my current job. And then here's where you could just drag and drop some information into the system if they already have a resume. If they don't have a resume here they're working from, then obviously you're gonna have to help them develop some language to put in here. But that's where this part falls in. Once they're done, they hit save that experience. Oh, got it in some work duties. Great. And then we can see that it grays out up here. So I'm not going to go through each section here, but what I do want to do is I want to go back and show you a resume that's somewhat completed already. So I'm going to go into my Little Rumble Bison resume. And here I can see that I've completed all the sections. I've got my summary, my work experience in here. If I happen to have multiple experiences, I can add an additional job right there. Since I'm still in high school, I don't have very much yet. I can include my education, anything that I've done there, my skills, right? It's pretty common now, and especially maybe for high schoolers that are going to require more of a functional resume than a chronological one. That's an important part to complete. And again, I get this little brief. What am I supposed to enter here? This prompt. Get my certifications. So if I have any extra certifications that I need to put in there, anything that I've earned or been awarded, special skills like languages that I might speak, honors and awards, and then organizations finally. Now I can't create a custom section, right? So it's gonna fall into one of these cards, you know, the organizations, honors, award, languages, that sort of thing. But I can add to those sections. I can certainly kind of use the summary to manipulate whatever I really want to get in there. So let's go to the top here. And at the top, I've got that chronological and functional resume, as I mentioned. And again, the chronological, just kind of your typical in sync, you know, start to finish resume. And then we got functional, which is, you know, it highlights maybe more of your skills than it does your experience. And then we've got the resume styles. And really what this does is it changes up the format ever so slightly. And it also changes up the font. So let's take a look at a chronological professional resume. We'll do a preview of that. And we can see a relatively professional format, a font. You know, I don't know that I would tell Little Rumble to send this in right away. I'd probably want to tweak it just a little bit, but it's a really good starting point, right? Everything that I put in the resume is listed here. It's all organized. It's broken down. Now let's go ahead and open up and do a contemporary one. And I'm going to click functional because we just don't have a ton of experience yet, right? So I see the font changes. The format is still relatively the same with just some minor details, right? No longer am I comparing all my work experience. That's not near at the top. I don't have that bullet list of everything I've done, because if I'm a junior or senior, I probably haven't done a ton. And it really highlights the skills that I have, certifications, what special, supplemental things, if there's honors and awards that help distinguish me, that sort of thing. And by the way, ask any questions as these come up. And if you use these features already, then please share your experience as well, of what that's been like. In terms of these other buttons up here at the top, I've been using the preview button. You can download them. You can download them either as a PDF or as an RTF. So an RTF will take it right into Word, right? So if I want to change these to match what I'm most interested in, then I can download it as an RTF, take it into Word, and fix some of the formatting. That's probably, if I was back in the classroom, what I would do is I would make sure that that we've got a really good starting point from here, and then I would take it into Word. In terms of downloading as a PDF, I do get a few questions about this. It doesn't directly download it into a PDF. What it wants you to do is it gives you these little instructions in terms of how to save it as a PDF, right? So what it wants me to do is print. It's going to pretend that I'm going to print the resume. I'm getting a pop-up block. There we go. And I'm not sure if you're seeing my pop-up here, but I have the option to save it as a PDF, and that's what the little video was showing me to do whenever I clicked download as PDF. This little video showing me how to do that. So, oops. There we go. I can, of course, print it directly from here. And then this important button over here, copy, right? So one thing we definitely want to teach our students is that, you want to customize the resume for the job opening, right? And so rather than starting from scratch, they can always copy this resume and tweak it for whatever they're trying to accomplish. So it pulled over all my other information, but now I can name it, whatever this next job opportunity is, right? So if this is my career development specialist position, I'm definitely going to want a professional look for that. I'm going to want my chronological history in there. And then I may want to go back and tweak the summary and that sort of a thing. Rename my objective to, getting employed as a career development specialist, or, utilize my skills on a statewide, whatever. So that is the resume feature. I know it's kind of a fast overview, but I think it's an amazing way to give kids a step up instead of, when I was in high school, it was just a blank Word document and a piece of paper, and they said, copy that format, and I had no idea how to manipulate Word at that point. And so this kind of puts everything in the right spot and allows you to tweak it if you so need. So the next thing I want to take a look at is the cover letters. So the cover letters section, again, that's next to the briefcase as my job tools. And I can go in and I can maybe, again, we want to customize our cover letters. So maybe I want to duplicate this and turn it into, its own cover letter. So this one is, again, for the career development specialist position. And it's got these gentle nudges, right? I'm sure that high school students are not thinking about the fact that they should probably include contact information for the hiring manager, right? If we think through professional format of a cover letter, we want to have that information in there. Again, it auto-populates some of the stuff I've already put into the system, and I can manipulate that if I need to. It prompts me to include a greeting, and then it prompts me to have a couple different, an opening, a middle, and a closing paragraph. And if I'm not sure what to put in an opening paragraph, I can go and I can hit examples, and it gives me some thought provokers to think of what to include in there. Same thing with the other two paragraphs as well, right? So just some quick ideas, some bullet points on how to get that in there. So once I'm done with that, once I've created this, and again, you're going to have to help them design this language or pull this language. They can save it, and they can print it off, download it again. Well, here we can download as a PDF. Go back over here. I can preview it if I want to take a look and get that quick view of how it's formatted. So I can see, oh, I didn't include the hiring manager information, so it's maybe not quite formatted correctly yet. So I'm going to want to tweak that a little bit. And here we go. It's ready to go as a PDF now, and I can just come down here and download it to my computer and take it into Word and adjust it. And if I don't think it's any good, just go ahead and delete it. So that's right there. If they're really struggling, they're not quite sure what kind of language to put in there, they're really needing some help, again, we've got a quick video that we can watch, just pops up right here in the same window, and it gives you an overview, a quick training on how to format and what should be included in a cover letter. And then if I'm still needing some more hand holding, I can do the view sample cover letters. And I've got 2 different cover letters I can take a look at and understand, oh, this is what they mean by opening paragraph. Oh, that's how they closed it, you know, asking for that connection, right? So, and if you're thinking I went a little quick there, again, I'm under the cover letters section of the My Job Search tools, and I just use these links right here at the top. Okay, so the next one, the My References section. This is just an opportunity for us to upload the people that we think are going to support us and represent us well, right? So we can put their contact information in here. We can fill as many of them out as we need to. Probably not a good idea to put your mom in there, Rumble, but that's okay. We all got to start somewhere. And so this is really, it's just as straightforward as it looks. It gives us a quick idea of why do we need to come up with references, and then really just fill in the blank of information they should definitely have already. We can get a quick preview of what that looks like if we want to print that off and attach it to the resume, but we're not going to do that just yet. And next, I'm going to come down here to the My Documents section. So it's got a little folder there because the My Documents section is exactly that. It's a place for us to store all kinds of documents, whether it is a certificate that I earned for an achievement, or a good attendance, or a soft skills training, or the the microburst learning certificates that you might get. It's also a chance for me to upload any material. If I have, maybe I've developed a really, I'm interested in graphic design, I'm a little Rumble here. Maybe I've developed a really great flyer and I'd like to showcase those results, or maybe I've even got pictures of me doing the work. So I've got a picture of Rumble leading at a game. So I can include all those things, basically a portfolio that I want to represent, my best work as an opportunity to get this job. And I'll show you why we want to include that here in just a minute. But I just click Add New Files. I can just upload it from my computer, and it's got all kinds of document types, whether it's a resume that I'm uploading, a cover letter, references, job application that I'm including in here, and then what kind of document. Is this a PDF, an image, something like that? And just throw a description and the name of it, and then you just grab it from the computer, and you're good to go. I believe they have 50 megabytes of storage here. So they can upload 50 megs worth of storage, which will go quite a long ways for students. And then once I've uploaded relevant, important documents to me, I'm going to come down here to the My eProfile section. And this is kind of where it all culminates. I like to think of the eProfile as what LinkedIn was supposed to be before it became like Facebook for business. And it's sending me little alerts like, congratulate Nate on his 10 years at this company. And I'm like, I don't need to see all this. The eProfile is just your digital online resume is what it works out to be. So if I come over here, I'm going to close these sections up just a little bit so we don't get too lost in the noise. And again, the eProfile is the very last option on the left-hand side. And just first off, since we're working with minors, these are not searchable. So I can't, I have to actually publish it for anyone to be able to find it. And then I need to share that link with them. It's not going to show up in some search engine or anything like that. So this first section allows me to customize, some of the colors that we'll see in there. If I have a personal website or social media that I want to attach to it, I can add those here as well. Want to make sure that they're professional and work friendly. Certainly want to include a headshot if possible of myself, especially for this type of presentation of yourself. And then I'm going to scroll to the About Me section. And this is where I can add another summary, right? Whether I want to copy and paste what I put on my resume, or I want to kind of summarize both the skills that I have and just who I am as a person, I can put that in there. Again, I can determine how much of my contact information I want available. And then if I'm a high school student and I'm looking to apply for college, or I'm looking to apply at a tech center, or maybe I'm applying for scholarships, these might be good opportunities for me to demonstrate from inside the system what my favorite occupations are, maybe my favorite majors or programs of study, instructional programs, my favorite schools. I could show my top pathways if those are relevant to what the student is accomplishing. If AJ was looking for a professional job, probably not a good idea to have a 36-year-old put here are my favorite occupations, on there. So I would definitely want to uncheck that if I was looking at my personal profile. And I can pencil that in. I can edit what I want to show up. So you can see that Rumble has a lot of favorite occupations. Maybe I don't want to show all those because I'm going specifically for something in, a community theater. I can adjust that. So back to the eProfile. And next on the My Resume section, if I have multiple resumes that I've created and I know that I am currently applying for a specific scholarship or at a specific school and I've customized it, I can choose which resume will show up. If I have multiple references, I can choose those. And then anything that I've put in that My Documents section that we just looked at will show up right here. So I've got my name for it. I can see a quick snapshot of what it is. So I've uploaded all images, but if I had uploaded a document or something, I could see those right here. And maybe I don't want to show all of them. Okay, so maybe I don't want everybody to see this particular one. Whatever I want to do, I hit save and publish, and it's good to go. It's live. And here is what that looks like. I can see myself attaching this to the bottom of my email. If I just had an interview or I'm looking for an interview, maybe I just submitted the application a few days ago, I might follow up with an email to the manager. Dear Mrs. Mr. So-and-so, thank you so much for the opportunity to apply. For further consideration, here's my virtual resume. I look forward to a chance to interview with your company. And so there's my contact info. Again, probably not appropriate for a 36-year-old to have my favorite occupations, but if I'm a high schooler, it might work out. There's my resume. You can see it's formatted and presented pretty well. I get my work experience, that summary, everything on there, certifications, etc. I can collapse that, and I can show my references that I chose to have on there. And then finally, any of those portfolio items that I wanted to be available, especially if I've got something I'm proud of that I want them to see. Please be sure to check out the portfolio section for some of my work that I would love to bring to your company, etc., etc. So that is the eProfile. And if I were back in the classroom, I would probably have this filled out. And this would be like one of my first days of school, introducing myself through the eProfile is definitely how I would do that, because it would just, again, keep that career development and OK Career Guide conversation going. Okay, so we have looked at everything in the student side that I wanted to look at. So if anybody has a question, Nate commented that in the document section, if you're part of a school that is using Galaxy or wants to use Galaxy, which is the free elementary version, the Career Awareness Program, there's a feature inside there that allows students to create work and create I statements and track their progress inside the system. They can attach all of their work from their elementary account to here. So they just upload their information and they would have it in the My Documents to track there. Okay, seeing no questions, I do want to quickly touch on what is reportable from the admin side. So I'm going to go back to the home page. I'm going to click Administrator Login. I'm going to go into our training school. And granted, there's not a ton of information that you can pull out of here, but just to let you know what there is. So I'm going to start at the Reports tab once I'm in the admin system. So it's the second tab. And I'm going to come over here to the Job Prep Tools. And really all this allows me to do is just get a spreadsheet of who has done it and who has not done it, right? So if I know that this is an assignment that my students are supposed to do, or maybe I've determined at our school that this is part of our ICAP implementation, I'm going to select Navigator. And just, hey, as a pro tip, we call everything OK Career Guide, but inside the system, Navigator is the 6th grade through 12th grade version, and Journey is the adult version. So if you're ever seeing this drop down going, I don't know what that is, choose Navigator, because you're most likely at a K-12 school or a tech center that's working with K-12 students. If you're Journey, there you go. I'm going to look at the resume, and let's say I want to see all my students who have started it last year. And that way I'll know who's good to go, or maybe I want to see who hasn't started it. So this, again, is just that list of names of people inside the system that have done it or have not done it. If I am an advisory teacher, or maybe I'm a counselor, or maybe I'm at a TANF program, and I want to see specifically what a student has done in the system, in order to do that, I'm going to come over here to the administration tab, the 4th tab. I'm going to find a user. So this find a user feature right here, I'm just going to look up specifically the student I'm looking for. So I'm going to type in Little Rumble. I can see the one and only Little Rumble in the account, and I'm going to click the actions button over here on the right. And what this does is it allows me to see everything inside the system. And by the way, if Little Rumble had 3 or 4 accounts and I needed to figure out which one was the most applicable, I would just click that little actions button. And here I can see, okay, Little Rumble did stuff just as recent as a couple months ago. So this is probably the account that we should keep. Those other ones, not so much. So here I am in Little Rumble's account, and I get an overview of everything in the system, right? Just time-stamped, a quick look at documents that I've uploaded, anything like that, resumes, education plans. But what I want to draw your attention to is this portfolio summary option right here in the middle. So not the portfolio, that would let me look at that page that we looked at just a minute ago with the, the headshot and all that, the collapsible and expandable. I want the portfolio summary. And this is a collection of basically everything Rumble has done inside the system. So I get that general demographic information, so I know exactly which student I'm talking about. I can get a look at the assessment details that they've completed, right? So the assessment results, as well as a very cool comparison in terms of my skills and interest assessments. If I've got my most recently updated education plan, right? So I actually have a plan that's a little bit more updated than this. But this one's showing up because it's my most recently updated. I should say I have a plan that's more completed than this. This is the one I messed with most recently. Anything that I favorited inside the system. So you can see that Little Rumble has favorited a lot of things. And then you can see what documents I've uploaded. And then I can actually go down and look at the cover letter that I have in the system, as well as my resume and everything that I put into my resume. So, and then references as well. So this is if I want to follow up with a specific student, I want to see what they've completed. Maybe we're about to have a enrollment night or a parent-teacher night, an IEP conference or something like that, and I want to see everything they've done. It's that portfolio summary. That's where I would go. Okay. That is the gist of what you're able to collect inside the admin system. And so I believe that covers everything that that I was looking to cover. Okie doke. Well, in that case, I believe we've covered everything. And if you have questions that you can't think of right now, but they come up as you you move along, please feel free to just reach out to any of us and email us what those questions are. We'll be sure to get back with you. I really appreciate you being here and joining us on today's webinar. Feel free to look for it again on our YouTube page. And as I said, reach out to us with questions. Thanks so much and have a great day.